5 years ago, we started seeing the confinement on our classrooms. I talked to a lot of different organizations affiliated with the open school asking what's going on, just starting with that why question, why is this happening? And then it led to, I read into the bills, Senate Bill 163 in Colorado, No Child Left Behind, started making these different connections inside of the legislature here in Colorado. And then I started having these meetings with politicians. In my very first meeting, the legislator who proposed Senate Bill 163, she looked at myself and a couple other people that I was with and said, "You're an unintended consequence." And so being told that you're an unintended consequence for this huge mass project was so upsetting to me that the other colleagues I was working with kind of drew back. But I pushed forward, and I gained more meetings. I was just talking to more and more people that now has led me into more of a national level, talking about education and what's the ideals, what's the purpose, and then the horrible effects of what we're seeing with Common Core, Park, and then with Park is another program called SBAC, which. Each programs, there were actually supposed to be 20 states in for it to work. Mm-hmm. You mentioned Common Core has, 16 or 17 states?
Yeah.
They lowered the mandate from 20 to 15 just to have that work.
Wow.
And so it's so intriguing that, those different, you mentioned that the standards are being lowered, but they're being lowered for the federal government or the federal initiatives just to put more high stakes on our students and our schools. And so that's what we saw, and that's what got me involved.
Yeah, that's really interesting that they themselves have lowered their standards to be able to fit into their own vision of the future. And it's also really interesting that you brought up, the idea that a non-traditional school like yours is an unintended consequence. Like, oh, well, okay, well, yeah, you guys, sucks to suck, I guess.
Yeah.
So obviously that's an issue that I see with the whole idea. Do you think that there's a way that Common Core can